Hi, Chris White from TAP Pest Control Installation. So I wanted to talk about sales objections to TAP. So we get into a sales process and homeowner has an objection. Now a sales objection is really just basically a concern or a hesitation that the prospect expresses during the sales process that prevents them from buying. Now it's usually related to product, price, value, company, or just a fear of commitment. Objection is not a rejection. Okay, they're not. If someone objects on something, it's not saying no. It's just an opportunity for us to address the concern and provide more information. So don't ever get discouraged if you get an objection at all. So price, kind of the glaring one that's always out there. Let's sideline that for a minute because that's a bigger topic. But some of the other ones we get are, well, I'm not going to be living here very long. I plan on selling the house in a year or so I'm not going to spend the money on insulating the attic. Actually, it's a really good time to insulate the attic. If you're going to sell the home, our product comes with a lifetime warranty that's transferable from homeowner to homeowner. It actually will add value to the home. If you get somebody who's concerned with insects and saving energy, which most people are when they buy houses, that might be a great selling point to tell somebody that they have it. I have actually seen that in some of the listings in my area recently that people are putting into their ads that they have TAP in their homes and that it helps. Does it need to be replaced? If I put it in now, I might have to pay for it again 5 years down the road. So no. Again, lifetime warranty, transferable. Once it goes in the house, as long as it's left undisturbed, meaning you're not going to have a tree fall onto the roof and it's, blows a hole in the roof, then it rains on it. That's a different issue. But left alone in the attic, it's going to last a lifetime. It's warranted for the effectiveness of the boric acids that are in there, so it's going to be effective for that life of the home against insects, flame resistance, and mold and mildew. I already have insulation. Do I really need more? I've lived with it this long. Great comment there. Great objection to address. Many homes were built with under code at the time, which is what we thought we needed for insulation. Unfortunately, many of those codes are outdated at this point. At one point, R19 was the recommended R value for attics. Unfortunately, R19 isn't anywhere on the U.S. Department of Energy list today. Minimum is R30 in some areas, and some of the more northern markets are 49. So the fact that you have it in there doesn't mean it's what it should be or you could do better. So it would definitely see some savings by upgrading on that insulation. Is it going to harm my family? I'm concerned. It's a pesticide you're putting in the attic. Well, the active ingredient is a boric acid, and the boric acid is actually a product that's used in, the raw material is actually used in a lot of other products, things like detergent we wash our clothes in. 20-multein borax is actually boric acid added to the laundry to increase the detergent benefits. It's in regular soaps that we use, hand soaps and things. It's also in eye wash. It's in cosmetics. Boric acid is in a lot of food that we eat. It is mined out of the earth. It's a natural mineral, so it ends up in a lot of our food, and we do ingest a small portion of it. So boric acids are actually approved for use around humans and pets, which means by and large it's not harmful for humans or the dog or the cat or anything like that, which is why we use it in there. So now let's sort of address the biggest elephant in the room, which is price, right? So we always get that, it's too high. So the first thing I want you to do is kind of put yourself in the position of the homeowner. Homeowners do not have their attics insulated very often, so they don't really know the cost. So when we get into a job situation and we price somebody out and they say, oh, that's too high. what they're probably doing is relating it to a price in their head that's unfounded. It's just a number in their head. And I do this as an example in many of my new trainings that when I sign somebody in to start a TAP program and they've never sold it before, I'll actually go around the room and ask everybody to give me a price on insulating an attic the size of the room that we're in. So if it's a 20 by 30 room, what would it cost to insulate that attic? And I get prices anywhere from $200 to $20,000. The issue is we're not asking what we're doing to that attic. How much are we putting in? Are we removing it? What are we doing? What are all the work that goes into it? Are we adding 6 inches or 16 inches? I'm not telling them that answer. So they're naturally just coming up with a number arbitrarily, which is exactly what your homeowner does. So that's why it's extremely important for us to talk about all of the things that go into the job. So, talk about the fact that you're going to lay down tarps on the way into the house, that you're going to protect their house from dust, from scratches on any of the hoses that you're going to run into the attic. You're going to make sure that the attic has the ventilation it does to maintain its safety and not create mold or mildew. You're going to be putting in the baffles. You're going to protect the recessed light covers. You're going to add a hatch master because we can insulate the entire attic, but if we don't cover that hatch on the way in, then it's like leaving a door open to the outside. So all of the different things you're going to do that's going to add value and justify the price that you're going to charge. The other thing is to do a good, better, best pricing program. So I want to price it with kind of the base, the middle, and then the top. So maybe I'm doing a R38, R49, R60. You'll find that this alleviates a little of that, oh, it's so expensive, into maybe, well, he's talking about a lot of things that go into it, so maybe there's a little more cost than I knew, and he's giving me options. So that's always a great thing to do, and it alleviates a little of that stress, if you will. Now, in comparison, to kind of compare when people don't have their attics done very well, that if you were to buy a car, right, or lease a car, I could ask that question in a group and say, what's it cost to lease a car? And of course, I'm going to get the questions, what kind of car? How long's the lease? How many miles on the lease? So we know to ask those questions, but attics aren't one of those things that we know to ask. So extremely important, talk about all that. Now, lastly, the biggest one is just the affordability of it. Well, it's more than I thought. I'm not objecting to it. I just don't think I have the money. Okay, fair enough. Now, consider the up to 30% savings on your heating and cooling that you're going to experience. So whether that's 10, 20, 30, or whatever it might be, it can be up to 30%. Now that's whether you're doing an attic capping or a restoration. It doesn't matter. You can still see that savings. In addition to that, there's a tax credit. Federal tax credit runs through 2032, so that runs a long time, and it's 30% of the cost of the job up to $1,200, and that's a dollar for dollar credit, which means if I owe $1,200 at the end of the year, but I have a qualifying TAP job, it will reduce that exactly by $1,200, so now I owe nothing. So dollar for dollar credit is very, very powerful, and that needs to be part of your presentation. Finally, if you offer financing, good for you. That is going to help. A monthly, if you're doing 12 months, 24, 36, or whatever you're doing, that's a huge selling point. That can help alleviate that cost because now you're going to get that savings, you're going to get that rebate, and you're only going to pay a little bit going forward, which you may offset with those other savings. So now, does it really make sense to say no? It's probably a good idea to say yes, and then experience that savings well after the time it's been paid off. And insulating an attic typically has a payoff period of anywhere between 7 and 10 years. So that is something that a lot of people are interested in. And then after that time frame, the savings keeps going. So there you have it. If you have any specific objections you want us to address, please ask the question in our comments, and we'd be happy to answer those for you. Have a great day.